Hello and welcome to a video that will hopefully help you understand how to navigate in Word different views and different ways of setting up our pages in Word, going from portrait mode to landscape mode and then back to portrait mode after. So just in case you're not too sure what I mean by portrait and landscape mode, if you take a look under the layout ribbon on Word and you look at orientation, portrait would be when a document is standing just like you would normally read it, what we're used to when we're typing up any kind of report. Landscape is when we look at a piece of paper sideways. So throughout this project, as well as in other times, whether it's in another class or in your professional life, you may be asked to go from portrait mode to landscape mode and then back to portrait mode. So this video should help you understand how to do that. So if you take a look at your draft 4 site, you're going to be asked to copy over this table. Now, just like the previous video, you'll see that there's some red triangles here. Red triangles. Well, we need to make sure that we don't have, we need to delete the comment. We need to make sure that there's no red triangles. So we're going to get rid of that one and we're going to get rid of that comment. Again, I'm pretending as though this is completely filled out in Excel first. Okay? So that's one thing that you definitely need to make sure is that this is completed in Excel first. Now we want to copy it over, but the requirement is that this table be in landscape mode. Now if I were to press Control C and then do what we did in the previous video and go control and paste it over as a picture, well, this is in landscape. Okay? And even if I rotate it sideways like this is still not in landscape mode. That's not what is being requested, because now myself, if I were to read an electronic version of this, I would have to turn my head sideways to read it. Okay? So we're going to pretend like that didn't happen. What I want is that we'll see that this is all writing right here. I want to see writing up to here, and then on the very next page I want to switch to landscape. So if I go to the next page and I click on orientation, I click on landscape, what's going to happen? The whole document goes into landscape mode. Okay. So let's click undo because that's not what we want. What we do want is we want to make it so that we go from portrait, then one page be landscape, and then the next page be portrait. So how do we do that? We're going to stay in the layout ribbon. So in this section, this would be where we would probably want to put the table, and this is the next section. So we're going to have to create a page break. So if we go to layout, click on breaks, if you look at section breaks, the very first option is next page. It inserts a section break to start the new section on the next page. So we're really just going to start a new section of our document, and that's how we get around going from portrait to landscape and then back to portrait. So let's click next page. And now we're on a new page. We've started a new section in this document. Because we've started a new section, we can actually go to the orientation tab now and make it landscape. Now what that's done is everything after that fact is in landscape. And that's not what we want. We only want one page. So we're going to go through the exact same process. Now that we have this one page in landscape, while we're on this page, we're going to go back to breaks. We're going to click on next page to create another break so that this part of this document is now another section altogether. And then we'll go back to orientation and click on portrait. So now if we take a look, we have the first part of our document, which is in portrait mode. We have one page, which is in landscape. And then we have the rest here. And we could just go like this. And do not follow what you're seeing on this page. It's not necessarily correct, and I'll tell you right now it's not correct. So we've gone from portrait to landscape to portrait. So now if I click on my landscape area, now if I want to complete my table, again we're pretending this is a completed table, I can Control C and then I'll bring it over to my landscape mode, and now I can paste it over. And just in case that was too quick, I can right click and go to the picture just like in the previous video, and now I have the ability to make it as big as it needs to be for this actual page. And if it's too big for this page, I can actually alter it so that it fits this page as well. So that's why we copy it over as a picture. So if we go through that again, I'll just undo a few times. So we'll pretend this never happened. So again, if it's the very next thing that needs to happen is to go into landscape mode and then back to portrait, at the end of the area where we want the next page to go, we're going to go layout, click on breaks, click on next page to create a new section, change the orientation to landscape, create another page break, and then click it back to portrait. And now we have one page that's landscape mode in the middle of all these pages, and now we can press Ctrl C, bring it over, and right click and bring it over as a picture. So that's a video on how to go from portrait to landscape and back to portrait in Word.